Welcome to Pastor Podcast Season 9. Andrew, you've heard this intro now a few times.
I'm excited to hear it again.
Yeah, and you know where we're going to go. Welcome. It's always great to have you with us. This is a podcast for pastors by pastors, talking all things pastoring. Is that our
things pastor?
Is that our tagline?
I like it.
And really, honestly, we just love pastors and church leaders, anybody in the trenches that build in the local church. And before we jump off with our two esteemed, I'm going to come up with adjectives for you guys. Our two esteemed guests today, I do want to let everybody know, we do a podcast. We also do a conference every year. We do one in Sacramento in January, which, Andrew, you've been at, but Christina, you haven't yet. So this is interesting.
You've never invited me.
Oof.
Gotcha.
This is, I was about to say you were in sin, and then, okay. Oh, this is how it's going to go, isn't it? This is how
I will be there in January, Christina.
This is how it's going to go.
I will be home caring for our children.
This is how it's going to go.
That's how Andrew prefers it.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, it's totally. We'll have this conversation. This is actually an intervention. This is going to be a counseling session. We do one in Sacramento every January, as well as we do one in the UK for all those in Europe and the UK in May. We'd love to have you come out and be a part of it. But you two, welcome to the podcast. Andrew, you've been co-host and guest on the podcast multiple times this season as well as previous seasons.
Yes, love it.
So great to have you. But Christina, first time ever
this is
on the Pastors
I'm excited.
Podcast.
What a life highlight.
I feel like there should be some type of plaque. You know, like
I would love
YouTube
that.
when you hit 100,000
Yes.
or you know, like gold records. There should. Would you hang in your office if I made a plaque that said you were on
Yes.
Pastor's
No,
Podcast?
she doesn't have her
I
PhD
would.
hanging in her office. She probably wouldn't put that in her office, Banning.
I would.
Let me ask this. This is an honest question because you did just recently get a doctorate.
Yes.
In what?
Psychology and counseling, specializing in addiction.
Do you feel like you got a little bit snobbier and more arrogant? This is an honest question right now. This is an honest question because I would have. That's probably where.
Yeah.
But
Your whole persona would change.
You got a PhD. Was that a
Yes.
PhD? My sister,
PhD.
not a PsyD or whatever. You got a PhD.
No, PhD.
And do you kind of look down on people a little bit more? Now, this is a place to be honest right now. You're going to stand, Christina, you're going to stand before God. Doctor, you're going to stand before God one day, Dr. Gard. Do you feel a little bit like you look down on people that are less educated than you?
No, absolutely not.
Really? See, do we believe that?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if I believe that at all.
No, you're making me
Are you
cry. I'm
nitpicking
laughing so
people
hard.
that are like kind of
No.
into pop psychology? Do you kind of
Well,
nitpick like the
yeah.
Instagram reel pop psychology people?
It is my favorite when somebody pretends to be a psychologist and tell people how to diagnose and treat themselves when they have zero education. So I guess maybe right there.
You are a
Okay.
little snobby about it.
You got a little snobby.
Only
We found
in
it.
that
We found
instance.
it.
Only in that instance.
Did you start making your kids refer to you as Dr. Gard? I'm just trying to.
In fact, tell the
funny
story about
story.
about
So
Adriana.
right after Hurricane Ian, maybe it was Hurricane Milton in Florida, the kids and I, one of our favorite things to do is walk around the neighborhood right after a hurricane and see what the aftermath looks like. And this was shortly after I had finished my PhD and we had gone to graduation, and one of my neighbors had seen me post about it. So my neighbor walks up to the kids and I, and we're walking around the neighborhood, stepping over tree branches. And my neighbor is like, "Congratulations, Dr. Gard, on your accomplishment." And I was like, "Oh, thank you so much. That's so kind of you." And he walked away, and my daughter looks up at me at 5 years old, and she goes, "He knows you're not a real doctor, right?"
Totally what it is.
Yeah.
If you can't do surgery on me,
Yeah.
you're not considered
You're not
a real doctor.
Yeah, and there was another time where she was talking to me, and she goes, "She's not a real doctor, right? She's still a mommy, right?" We're like, "Yeah, she's still a mommy."
Adriana was really
Amazing.
concerned. Am I still going to be a mommy?
Yeah.
I'm like,
You talked
"Yes."
about self-diagnosis. My daughter just graduated with an undergrad in psychology, so she got her BA. Would it be a BA in psychology?
Amazing.
And then she's going to go on and get her master's in kind of some behavioral stuff.
I love you said, is it called a BA? You can tell Banning went to ministry school.
Oh, I didn't even go to
it's just
ministry school. I went to 1
ministry
year
certificate.
of college. Is it a BA, BS? What is it here, guys?
9 months
It
of
can
the
be either
Bethel
one.
School of
Hey,
Supernatural.
Hey, don't you
It
ever
can be either one.
Don't you ever downplay certificates. Don't you ever downplay certificates that are hanging on walls.
What is the point of this
I love
podcast?
it. I
We just
love
make
it.
fun of each other the whole time.
Well,
exactly.
We may have already recorded a handful. So my daughter, we'll get to a point.
Okay.
this is the banter part, Christina.
Okay, I like it. Okay.
Becky Johnson, full on is like, I just completely skip all of that.
Yeah,
They're like, doop, doop, doop.
15
Please
seconds,
get to
15
the
seconds.
point.
Yeah.
My daughter, so she was going in psychology classes, and then she would just call us every week, self-diagnosing herself. She's like, I have this. I know I have this. I have this as well.
Yeah.
And then she'd call, no, I've got this too, guys. I have this too. And then like a month later, she'd go, all right, I don't know if I have that, but I've got this.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. When you were going through, did you kind of look at yourself and go, I might have that? Like, did you?
No.
No, that was just my daughter. She's a middle child.
Maybe in my undergrad I would have, but not in grad school. I would utilize what I learned in assessment to diagnose other people, but not myself.
Is that be hard? I'd be diagnosing everybody. We're just going to talk about your doctor.
I like it.
I'd be looking at, narcissist, first of all, would be immediately, I'd be like,
Yes.
because they throw that word around a lot.
People
Yeah.
say that all the
So
time.
everybody
annoying.
wants to use the word narcissist
Yeah.
about somebody else.
Every time somebody took the last piece of cake, what
Yes,
a narcissist.
But if I actually had a doctorate, I'd be like, I actually think you are. Okay, we'll leave that thing. Really quickly, introduce yourself. We've heard from Andrew, but give us a little bit of your history of leadership and what you're doing right now and how you got there.
Okay, we're the senior pastors of Grace City Church. We planted our church 10 years ago, started in our living room, used our own money to open the first church's account, and have been all in ever since. In addition to pastoring, I'm a full-time professor of psychology. Have been in higher ed now for 18 years.
Where?
I teach in graduate and undergraduate at Southeastern University and Liberty University, and prior to that, Northwest University. Love higher ed, love helping students understand how to break down psychology with theology as the foundational understanding, and then grew up in Alaska, born and raised, very rural part of Alaska. I'm from generations of pastors, so my parents were pastors for almost 40 years. My grandparents were pastors for over 40 years, and his father before him. I'm the first female to be licensed and ordained, and I'm super pumped to be here.
Let me ask this. This is going to be a very, very assumption, stereotypical. In Alaska, rural Alaska, which, by the way, is unbelievably gorgeous.
Yes,
Few
it
places like Alaska.
I agree.
That get in your blood.
Spend the whole podcast talking about Alaska.
Yeah, and the people from Alaska are like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
100%.
kind of Alaska and Texas both are
Yeah.
probably the most like it's just in
We
your
don't
blood.
like Texas.
Yeah. But was higher education highly valued in rural Alaska?
No.
So where did that come from then?
Not at all.
That was, I guess my assumption was right.
Yeah, it is absolutely correct. In fact, most don't ever graduate from high school. Most of my upbringing, I was homeschooled, but for part of my
really,
yes,
that
does that
explains
explain a lot?
Okay, all right. So pieces are coming together.
So I had this one portion where I was able to go to public school for a short while. And when I was in public school, I had a teacher tell me I would never graduate from high school because Eskimo girls don't graduate from high school. And it really is sort of the stereotypical environment. A lot of natives don't graduate from school. A lot of people from rural environments, you drop out of school because you have to work and
Are you
take care of your
100%
family.
native?
No. My
Okay.
mom is.
Your mom is.
Yeah, but I'm not.
Which
My mom
that's
married a white man.
That's what I'm seeing come through in your son.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was wondering that.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, people always look at our son and they go, like, what ethnicity
Well,
is he?
yeah, totally. But that's the
Yeah.
Alaskan thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
That's
Alaska
fascinating.
Native.
Okay, yeah.
So I came home from school that day and told my mom that I was told I would never graduate from high school. And my mom said, that's a lie. You're going to graduate from high school. So I asked my mom, did you graduate from high school? And she didn't. She dropped out at 15. Her mom was a drug addict, and she had to start working to take care of her younger sister. And my mom that day decided to go back and get her GED. So when I was in elementary school, 6th grade, my mom got her GED.
What a
and then
hero.
she
Come
went
on.
on and got her bachelor's degree, and then got her master's degree in business administration, and then even went to law school.
Amazing.
And just pioneered a path that while somebody may tell you you're not capable of doing something, you have the last say.
Yes.
And not to allow anyone to limit you. So my mom showed me what was possible. It was hard being a kid with your mom in school and
Yes.
doing so much education, but it really ignited a passion in me for education. And school for me was my way out of feeling trapped or feeling like everyone around me was addicted to heroin or meth, and to have an opportunity to make a different life for myself. School made that possible.
Love that. You say that you guys, what would your titles be at the church?
We're the senior pastors of Grace City Church.
So you would say you're senior pastors, co-senior pastors, whatever the language is?
Yeah, we don't use the word co.
How does that work out practically?
Yep. So,
Great question.
I'll speak to the language of even using that terminology co. The reason why we don't do that, the reason why we don't use terminology like that. In fact, we always encourage any husband and wives that are leading together to not even use that word co. And the reason is the only other context that we use that kind of language is in co-parenting. So when somebody's saying, hey, we're co-parenting our kids, that's in the context of separate homes, raising those children. But when a mom and dad are in the same house, under the same roof, we just say, hey, that's mom and dad. Those are the parents of those children. And so we're both the senior pastors. It's really, honestly, we lead it the same way we lead our home, which is just skill-based. So there are things that Christina has a natural propensity for that she leans into that for me might feel overwhelming or I get bogged down with it, and vice versa. There are things. And so for me, I tend to be more macro. It's pretty male-female in a lot of ways, just as far as like, generally speaking, in terms of gift mix of going, I tend to lean more on the macro side of it, the vision side of it, preaching, teaching, that kind of stuff. And then Christina also is an incredible preacher and teacher, but tends to like lean into sometimes the soul care of the staff. I focus more on the leadership development side of the staff. She focuses more on in some ways, soul care of the staff.
Who sets the vision?
That would be me primarily. Yeah. But it happens through the filter of conversations that we're having. Hey, here's some things that I'm sensing and things of that. So there's a lot of like back and forth and feedback.
Have you seen, because this whole thing where there's people that are leading together now is fairly new.
Right, right.
Have you seen, same thing with CJ and I, at some level, CJ and I, she does not want to do what I'm doing. Like she glazes over and just is like, she doesn't want to be in board meetings. She doesn't want to be in budget meetings. She doesn't want to be in vision meetings. You know, she just wants to go love people.
Yeah.
So sometimes people are like, how do you guys lead together? I'm like, we're a bad example because we don't run into each other at all as far as like conflict. Have you worked with anybody who both are the visionaries?
Every couple that kind of does it like us, I think this is the healthiest model.
The version,
I think this is the version of it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I would say that leading like this, it's not for everybody. And so I don't even pretend it's for everybody. For us, it just works really, really well, in part because both of our skill sets and both of our callings. And, we had people early on in the life of the church that, hadn't been around churches where they see a husband and wife, leading together. And typically it's one of two things that either, happens. So either A, in their minds, it's this strong woman with this passive guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I've been viewing this. Is that not what you guys are? Keep going.
And so, or there's the other side where it's like really the guy's leading it, and the woman has this ceremonial title and isn't leading at the highest level, and that's not the model for us. That's not really either model that we kind of rock with. And so what we did is we had people that came up to us and they said, "Explain this to us." And I'm like, "You actually understand this better than you think you do because it's just like a home."
If you'd use a family example,
exactly
analogy,
yeah,
exactly.
And that's what we use. It's like, man, the healthiest homes is when the mother's operating in her gift set and the father's operating his skill set and gift mix, and they're both operating at his highest level possible.
Would you have a theology that the husband is the head of the home?
100%. And I mean, so would Christina. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
And would you have that philosophy then in church?
Yeah.
Have you walked with anybody else who's run into problems with this that they've had to address? Do you know what I'm saying? Like if other couples are like, I actually just connected with Tyler. Just had a couple reach out to me and just say, hey, we want to lead together. We're about to take over this church. The board's kind of wanting to know, this is a new model. The board's kind of wanting to know, like, what does that even look like? What are your roles? What's the job descriptions? And so I actually connected with our friend Tyler.
Yeah.
And so they jumped on the phone with them. But I mean, have you walked with people that it's not working real well?
Tons. I mean, we actually, God has opened up doors for us to talk and coach a lot of people through leading like this.
And what Andrew is alluding to, when you use the family as the example, so from a psychological perspective, the healthiest homes are a home where mom is present and dad is present. And single-parent homes can still do great. Andrew was raised in a single-parent home. But we know from a psychological standpoint, kids thrive the most when mom is present and dad is present, and both are bringing their gifts, natural propensities, natural abilities to the health of the home. And I think we've seen a lot of motherless churches, a lot of absent of the female voice and absent female presence, and there is such beauty and warmth and care in the female voice and female presence that has not been necessarily embraced. And I was not your stereotypical pastor's wife. Like, my mom was more like, she made the baby blankets for every baby shower and played the piano on Sunday and cooked all the best potluck dishes. Like, my mom nurtured more of that role. My gifts are more communicating and teaching and leadership and care, pastoral care. I do a lot of our pastoral care. And Andrew and I, when we were crafting our mission, vision, values for the church, we labored over those things together. And I think of my role as kind of protecting the soul of the church, just like I protect the soul of our home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing that we always tell people is, I think the issues come in when you don't have a good marriage.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people trying to lead like this, and their marriage isn't strong enough and healthy enough to lead like this. And so I think that's I think whenever we're talking to couples, we're going, oh, this is a deeper rub than we're running into each other at work.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is a different thing. And so then we get to unpeel those layers and go, well, let's talk about the marriage in general.
I don't know if everybody would know your story of trying to get pregnant and twins later on. Do you think it helped planting without kids at first?
Yeah, I think there was aspects.
As far as you guys working together?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, my role in the church when we first started, there was nothing at home that required my time, care, and attention like children
And real
do.
quick, just catching up, we had almost 10 years of undiagnosed infertility, tried to have
We've
children.
been married 20 years now.
And so, when we launched the church, I'm so sorry to cut you off, but there were, we didn't have kids.
Yeah, no kids. And so
he hasn't apologized to me once for cutting me off. Just to be fair right now, we've done a few episodes together.
And he didn't
and that little
apologize
tenderness
once.
right there, he's never
a
once
good man.
apologized
He's a
to
good
me.
husband.
Nobody
Cutting
gets
me
more
off.
tenderness from me than her.
I just-
you've
I
never
just
seen
wish-
that before. You
I
were
just
shocked
wish-
at that
I
side.
just wish you'd apologize to me sometimes when you cut
Just
me
one
off.
time. Just one time.
Just common decency to friends. Oh my gosh. All right, so continue.
So when we started the church, I don't think, now looking back, with two small mouths to feed, my husband quit his job for us to plant our church. And when I say we started the church account with our own money, that's scary. Like, to be jobless, to have a husband who's jobless, and to have your own money using to start this thing up, that's a risky, scary thing. If I had small mouths to feed at home, I don't know if I would have had the faith to take that risk. We knew that we had so long to live off of my professor salary before
Sugar
we would
mama.
need his income. But we stepped out in faith in a way like we had never done before.
Right.
And I remember vividly, right at the same time this was happening, I was offered a neat promotion opportunity to become a dean of the School of Honors. And I was looking at this opportunity, and Andrew and I remember vividly having this conversation, and he said, if it's a me thing, it'll go good. Like, if it's a me thing and planting the church, it'll go good. But if it's a we thing, it could be really special. It could be extraordinary. And he wanted me to come alongside him, and has always consistently made that an invitation, and has created a path where I don't have to pretend to be someone that I'm not or try and do something that I'm not naturally gifted in. I show up with the gifts that God's given me, and he's always encouraged, always invited, never forced, never required me to be a part of anything. But it's been such a beautiful thing for our church to see, yes, I am a strong female. I have lots of opinions and lots of thoughts, but they're submitted to my husband. Yeah. And people, I think, find this refreshing on the one hand, and then also kind of interesting on the other, where they would expect me to be this, I am woman, hear me roar, I wear the pants, and I'm in our house. And it's like, no, I respect my husband more than any other person on the planet. And there's nobody who I'm more excited to follow than him as a pastor and as a wife. And to get to do this together is the greatest gift in our lives. This is our life's work.
Yep.
And I think I have an empathy and an understanding for late nights and early mornings, because I'm in the office too. And if I'm never in the office and if I'm never around, I will resent him for coming home late at night after a worship service. I will resent him from early morning board meetings. I'll be frustrated because I'll feel like he's choosing something over me and the kids. But because we do it together, I know the weight. I see the burden. I shoulder it with him and can help accommodate for things and carry a load when he doesn't necessarily have the ability to carry the load that I can help carry.
Yeah, I love that. Yep. Is Lakeland in the Bible Belt? Is it?
Florida's interesting because when I first moved to Florida, I asked them. I said, "Do you guys consider yourself East Coast or do you consider yourself South?" And Florida is just a thing unto itself. Like if you talk to them, we're Florida.
Have you run into the issue of female leadership?
Oh yes,
female pastoring.
Oh yes. Yeah, and people, thinking I shouldn't preach because I'm a woman, or
but you would have ran into that in Washington State when we were in Washington State. Ran into it as well.
And as a professor, even I preach in chapels, both at Northwest and at Southeastern. Who the surprising large number of population is, though, that has the bigger issue with me preaching.
Women
is women.
Yeah.
It's actually not men, which people typically would assume, but it's actually women.
I would say that women have it because men have taught them.
Yeah.
That's how they were raised.
Yeah.
Let's talk psychology for a second. You were with our staff and doing a training.
Yeah.
Both you guys did such a phenomenal job.
Thanks.
Your heart to bring kind of mental health awareness, mental health tools, mental health resources. One of the questions I asked you was, we are seeing in the world more of an awareness, like this push for mental health, it feels like.
Yep.
This mental health, but yet still the percentages of people that
are getting sicker
around mental health, the diagnosis, the medication, all that type of stuff. And yet it is something that we need to look at in the church. How do we address this in the church, but not get caught up into what is going on in the world that's not working or helping? Or just addressing things that are symptoms but not roots, and are actually just at some level, I think, we even see with all the sexuality issues and all the gender issues and all this type of stuff, it just feels like they're not really actually wanting to address. So it's more enabling, all this type of stuff. So how do we in the church say we do need to look at this? We do need to actually address this.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to ask you follow-up questions. You're just going to respond to my whole thing right here.
Okay.
And the other thing was, biblically we look at this thing, or 200 years ago, there's not mental health professionals on every corner, and they somehow seem to be all right. And I see a therapist and push people. I've been a great resource for me, and I push people there. But like those type of things.
Yeah.
What would you say to all that when you're talking to the church?
Yeah, I think 20 years ago when I started in this field, I don't think it was embraced, mental health, like it is now.
In the church or outside?
In the church.
Okay.
Probably both.
Yeah, I think culturally outside the church was more receptive to mental health and psychology in general. In the 70s, we really saw a big swing in the mental health advancement. And so there's been a push in the world towards understanding how our brains are wired and how we respond to things from the human behavior.
The science of it.
Yes, the science of it. We saw a dramatic shift in the science and understanding. In the church, I would say 20 years ago, it wasn't the reception that it is now. I'd say now probably for the last decade, I think that there's been a greater reception and understanding. I think you can't deny what science says, and the church has appreciated to some extent now that it's undeniable that your brain and your emotions will impact your ability to follow Jesus if you don't deal with whatever is off in your brain chemistry or what is off in your behavioral decision-making skills. And so I think my first encouragement to pastors that are listening to this would be, one, for you yourself to make sure you have a safe place to think, feel, process. I think I see a lot of pastors that don't take the time to get an engine tune-up and to have a safe place to make sure, is my oil running on empty? And you will eventually, your engine will explode if you're not caring for yourself well. So I think having a safe place to talk. And then I think just letting your congregation know mental health resources are available. God is the only path to true everlasting healing and freedom, but he uses people to help us heal. In James, it says, confess your sins unto one another. What are we doing when we confess our sins? We're explaining how we're feeling, which immediately reduces stress levels and allows for oxytocin to be secreted in your brain. Cortisol levels come down. And when you're shouldering burdens with someone and you're sharing what's going on, it changes the way your body and your brain respond to things. So I think simply making it okay makes a big difference. I think 10 years ago, even 15 years ago, it was like, nope, pray about it and move on. Tended to be the response. And yes, pray about it, but it's not an either or, it's an and both. It's you pray, you contend, you fast, you trust that God will bring that healing and that freedom. And at the same time, you can utilize the help of a therapist and in that process. And, you know, I teach therapists how to be therapists, and I'm always trying to help my students understand it's not church or therapy. It's not God or therapy. It's both. And you can utilize both. And I think we now know that the way you heal your brain is through conversation.
I'm not pushing back, but when you say it's God and therapy, it sounds a little bit like you'd be putting them on the same plane. I know you're not. I know you're not. I know you're not in that moment. But I'm saying,
Well, it's a tool that God uses. So in the same way that we would say, exercise, eat right, get some sleep. Those would be all things that are not God's unto themselves.
I'm not saying that's what you're saying.
No.
It's good.
But those are the things that God uses. And there are people, you know, even when I'm in a pastoral care meeting and I'm meeting with somebody and I'm going, okay, I don't necessarily have the bandwidth to journey with this person where we're meeting every week for the next 5 years. That it's going to take
the skill set and understanding.
100% to navigate
because you got a certificate.
Sexual abuse, and trauma like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like we need people in the same way that if I go to a physical trainer, they're going to know what workouts to do in order to get my body of how I'm trying to get my body. It's the same way that there are people that have been trained like that with the brain.
So this is going to sound like I'm just cynical the whole time.
I love it.
But I think at some level, these are the questions that we have to ask.
These are important.
I think in this realm, it is a little bit for pastors. Well, it may not be. I don't want to speak for pastors, but nerve-wracking in that where are the voices that we can trust? Because when I look right now and say, hey, we need to be looking at the race issue. We need to be looking at the sexuality issue. But sometimes it's hard to find voices that you actually can trust in those spaces.
Yeah.
Because you start going down that road and you're like, whoa.
You could end up anywhere.
You're going a different direction than what I think the Bible actually says.
Yeah.
It's either anti-Bible what you're saying or like extra Bible what you're saying. Or it's got more of the world in it.
Yeah.
Than it does. It just feels like you're just, honestly, trauma-informed, all this type of stuff. Sometimes in the church right now, it feels like everybo's a victim.
Yeah.
Everybody's been spiritually abused. I'm making very broad, generic statements. But, so all of a sudden you're like, and so is this kind of counseling area now just going to reinforce the fact that you were spiritually abused?
Yeah.
And
Right.
how do you kind of distinguish this is a voice that we can trust?
Yeah.
Or I'll tell you this, sometimes, and this is the interesting part with counselors. Now, I'll tell you this, I don't think you have to be perfect. Like I have my own broken areas in my life that I'm having to grow and bring to the Lord. I don't think perfection is the goal, is the requirement. But sometimes with counselors, it's interesting, man. You go get a degree, and I'm like, dude, your marriage is a mess.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah.
You're a broken individual who got a degree.
And now is giving counsel.
Yeah.
Well, does that make sense?
What's the fruit of your life?
Well, but you kind of have that going on too.
Yes.
So I guess the question that I have is as you're talking to people, how do you go? Again, I don't know if that makes sense. The race and the gender and the sexuality thing. I'm looking for voices that I can trust.
Yeah.
I'm looking for voices I can pull on, but a whole bunch of those voices, even in the church, I start going down that road. I'm like, oh, whoa, okay, hold on a second. This is that's not a voice I want to be going to. And the mental health area, although not as black and white as those, is still like it's a really long, rambly question.
Well, I think you have to start with a good therapist is somebody who is trained in how to operate from your worldview. So you could go see a Buddhist therapist, but if they have a client
How is that even
who is a
possible, though, if they
Christian,
don't know your worldview?
because they say, what does your Bible say? What does your God say? So a therapist is required to operate from within your worldview, whatever the client's worldview is.
I don't have a degree, but is that even possible?
Yes.
Do we not have? That's fascinating. I've never even heard that. That's
Yeah, so
amazing.
that's
Can
the
they
initial
actually work
requirement.
through their own
Because
filter and bias?
a therapist also isn't supposed to just tell you what to do.
That's
They're
fascinating. I've
supposed
never
to
heard that.
question. They're supposed to prompt you to have self-reflection and to personally identify the areas that need to change and need to grow. Not you sit down as a therapist and I'll tell you the 3 things you need to do. Because if I tell you the 3 things you need to do, I have to take responsibility for them, and they might actually be the things that you need to do.
Andrew and I do.
So you have to.
I can tell you right
So that's
now. what you
actually
need to
not
do.
helpful, and it's not beneficial because you need to own your own solution. And so a good therapist operates from within your worldview and helps you identify the solutions that you're ready to partake in.
But how does a therapist? So hear me on this. I think so much of. I've actually never had this conversation. I'm absolutely loving this. So much of bondage that we're in
Yeah.
is lies that we're believing.
Yeah.
How would a therapist that's not coming from my biblical worldview even understand how to expose a lie?
Yeah. Well, they might not be able to through the power of discernment or the gift of the Holy Spirit, but they can say, what does your God say about this? And what does your Bible say about this?
But you would still even go, the preference is finding a therapist.
That's a licensed therapist who is a Christian that operates from your same worldview.
Yeah, you would still say even that's ideal.
Because they may not think that is a lie. They may not even be looking for.
Yeah. So as a Christian,
That's fascinating.
you know, and you can look at
Because we're
the
trying
American,
to get them to a place of truth.
Yeah. So if you look at the American Christian Association Counselors website, that will give you a good starting point of people who have identified as Christian counselors, and you can put in your zip code and you can find a whole bunch in your area. And then something that we do at Grace City is we provide a list of people who our church has had good experiences with.
And we vetted.
And we list them on our website that provide for our church in our area resources that are available in Tampa, available in Lakeland, that people have had good experiences with, that they know, like, somebody in my church had a good experience, I'm going to try this person.
So I would have a philosophy, a theology, a ecclesiology around, like I said, I don't have to preface this, but I actually see a therapist, she's amazing. She's helped me out so much. But trying to expose lies, I would say any area that you're in bondage to, there's a lie in there, or there's stuff that you've learned in your past, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But I was just at a church that actually specializes in just flat out deliverance in the demonic world. And it was actually like, I think that we have maybe gotten away from some of what we actually read about in Scripture as well. Like some of these guys that are just demonically oppressed, or that's a. So where do you put all that into that
You're
too?
walking
And maybe this is a
lockstep, hand in hand.
charismatic.
So no, I think it's a beautiful question, and I grew up in a very charismatic church.
Yes,
and have
like I would
young
believe there's
impression
absolutely
memories.
demonic things
Yes,
going on as well.
There are, and I think once you find a moment of deliverance, so if you've just been delivered from demon possession, you need someone to walk with you through that. And not every pastor has the margin to do so. Not every therapist has the skill set to do so. So you need both. And it's not either or, it's and both. And so you experience the deliverance, but then you did something, you engaged in something that allowed for that door to be opened. So what did you do? And then what do you need to do to work out your salvation and work out this delivered life? And so I think having the experience of having both, my life has been dramatically blessed by both, having pastors and therapists that have helped me walk a path of healing and wholeness.
How do you know if it's not working?
Then it's not working.
Well,
you're still engaging in the same unhealthy coping mechanisms.
Yep.
You're not getting better. You're seeing the same lie repeated again and again.
I guess here's my question. When do you know if that's you or the therapist isn't helping? Does that make sense? Because some of that could just be like you're actually, we've met with a ton of people, give them advice, and they don't do it.
Yeah.
So that's not on me.
So, and sometimes you might be in therapy and you're not ready to change.
Yes.
And sometimes you might be in therapy and your therapist isn't the right fit, or sometimes it's the right person
So how do you
for
figure
a
that out?
season. It's a feeling thing, and
sometimes you got to date. I remember we'll tell people that even with therapists is sometimes you got to date a little bit. Sometimes you got to go visit a therapist therapist and then you find a chemistry. It's in some ways like friendship. You hang out with people and you're like, that guy's not my kind of guy. That guy's
isn't working.
Oh man, for some reason there's an affinity here.
You have yet to apologize for cutting me off, so I'm very quickly going, I'm not sure you're the right guy for me.
One of my guys.
But yeah, you date, so to speak, and find the right therapist. And then when you find the right connection, and a therapist who is somebody who is willing to tell you the truth and help you not stay the same and walk with you through that process has been, for me, life-changing. Because what you're doing is you're shutting down lies and you're making new roadways in your brain to walk towards and walk down, new neural pathways. And the ability to do that and have somebody help you identify what the lies are is so key. And a good therapist can help you identify any lie that is root and core to your identity, like a belief that you're not good enough. You don't need to know the Bible in order to identify that you're not good enough, but a good therapist will help you root out why do you believe that you're not good enough and then help you work out
But how
why.
do you not turn it into just self? So, like, I don't know if we really do have the ability to, by ourselves, get better. Does that make sense? Like,
That's why you need a therapist. You need a
no.
you
I'm
need
talking about
a city group leader.
But
you
you're.
need a pastor.
But what you're
You need
saying,
a
I'm not talking
friend.
about people. I'm talking about apart from God.
Oh yes, okay.
So the thought of like you can discover. I'm just helping you discover what the answer is inside of you.
yeah.
If I'm not helping them connect to Jesus, they're not going to be able to get themselves free. They don't have the answer within inside themselves.
Yeah.
So I am good enough doesn't mean anything if it's not connected to I'm good enough because he said I'm good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're talking about two different things. You're talking about what Jesus does for us in salvation, but there are like people that aren't saved that therapy has helped to create new pathways and new habits and new things of that nature. But you and I, we would all agree that's not getting you to heaven. That's not getting you in the abundant life that God has for you. But you can absolutely create new paths. Like Christians aren't the only people that have ever created like a new habit
Or a new way
outlook,
of thinking.
or a new way of thinking.
Can you get free apart from it?
Not free from the condition of sin.
If I help
Yeah.
you discover there's a lie that says you're not good enough, can I on my own say I am good enough?
You can develop a new neural pathway that helps you identify a way in which you view yourself different than how you had been viewing yourself.
That might not be unto salvation,
Yeah.
but might be to a functional human. Now, obviously, where we want to go.
Fascinating. Well, I'm only talking about Christians right now. We're talking to Christians, yeah.
Right. But it is important to note though how you can create new habits and you can create those new things, but you're not going to create an entirely new
Cy
identity.
Rogers, you know Cy Rogers? Would you know that name?
Yeah.
Cy, he's passed away now, but he came and did a brilliant teaching on that thing about even the guys that are in sexual patterns and stuff like that, just having to change the pathways
Yeah.
or whatever it is. I only got a certificate, so
Yeah.
I
You
can't
don't know
fully
all the words and
describe
stuff.
the
They're big words.
But I do love that. So fascinating.
But I think it takes both. And I think for so long, the church has erred on one side and shunned psychology, and psychology has erred on their side and shunned the church. And I think we won't have true freedom unless we actually embrace both. And obviously, God is our healer, but walking out our deliverance with a person means it lasts or it doesn't. And I get scared when I see somebody, they experience deliverance at the altar and they have a moment, they have an encounter with God, and they go back home and they pick up that bottle and they drink themselves to sleep again. Because you need both.
Yeah.
Are you active on social media?
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
active.
so how do they get you on social media?
Christina Gard, at Christina Gard.
Christina Gard.
Yeah, I'm all-
Gard. You
Yep.
can also go to Grace City. What's the website for Grace City?
GraceCity.com.
GraceCity.com.
Paid a lot of money for that, GraceCity.com.
Paid a lot of money by somebody squatting on that thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, entrepreneurs. That's capitalism 101, my friend.
Exactly.
Well, thank you. We're going to be doing some episodes together as well.
I'm excited.
So excited. Thanks for jumping in with us, guys.
for having us.
All right, guys, listen. What am I going to tell them right now about?
You're going to say, man, come to Pastor's Conference in January. I'm going to be there. A bunch of people are going to be there. It's going to be amazing. And then we do one in the UK
Let's go.
every year. Come hang out with us.
All right, guys.